Hello guys and gals, and welcome to another episode of Unique Items. Today we're going to be going over another sword. That's right, we're on a sword kick. I'm just rolling through the swords today. Today's sword is Shadowfang. Shadowfang actually has some interesting trivia behind it, believe it or not. Shadowfang was originally the sword that Iswal went to stop being created. So if you guys don't know the story of Iswal, Iswal basically went to destroy a sword that was being made at the Hellforge. And if I remember correctly, which I can't always remember correctly because my brain is Swiss cheese, but I do tend to remember Diablo facts, though. And if I remember correctly, he went to go stop the creation of Shadowfang, which he failed, and ended up getting captured. But that is what it is. Shadowfang is an interesting low-level sword that can be utilized by just about any character, to be honest with you, because at a low level, it is really not too big of a deal as far as like what weapons you're using. Low-level weapons, it's not really that big of a deal. The damage on the weapon is a little low, though, in my opinion, and we could probably fix that by upgrading it, so we'll have to see. As you can see, it has one-handed damage of 4 to 18, and it has two-handed damage of 16 to 34, which for a level 12 sword isn't too bad. And you can also see it has an emerald. I mean, it looks like freaking emeralds, like it's made out of emeralds from freaking Minecraft, doesn't it? I know Minecraft came out after Diablo, but maybe this is where they got the color for their emeralds, because, like, I swear it's almost like identical to the color of the emeralds in Minecraft. We also have a dexterity requirement of 27, which is really low, and a strength requirement of 35, which is really low, which means most characters can put this on with ease. We also have 100% enhanced damage on this, which is static. We have 10 to 30 cold damage with a duration of 6 seconds, which is pretty high for level 12, and it's probably going to kill most monsters you come across. Level 12 is literally normal difficulty Act 1, just in case you're curious. You don't get to Act 2 until around level 14, 15. In fact, there's a hard EXP cap, and if you go to Act 2 before 14, 15, you're gonna be in trouble. We also have a 9% mana steal, a 9% lifesteal, so it is a dual leech blade, a very nice dual leech blade. And we also have 20% cold resistance with a -2 light radius. All in all, it is a very excellent level 12 sword. The main problem with it is that the physical damage really falls off very quickly as you go through the levels, and you're going to be in a situation where you just don't really want to use it anymore because it's just so low on damage. We also have the ethereal version, which is 6 to 26 damage on the one-handed, 24 to 50 on the two-handed, a 17 dex and 25 strength requirement with level 12. It's one of those swords that I think drops all the time. I've actually seen it all the time, and you can actually put 2 Shadowfangs on at the same time. And the sad thing is that no matter what you do with these particular Shadowfangs, it's not going to be super duper amazing. On level. I mean, you're going to use them at level 12, and you're going to want to take them off relatively quickly because you're not going to be able to find anything. You're not going to be able to kill much of anything because the cold damage is going to fall off relatively quickly, and the low physical damage is going to hurt a lot. The dual leech doesn't really do very much because of the low physical damage. You have to imagine that 9% is of how much damage you're actually dealing. So if you're not dealing any physical damage, or if you're not dealing very much physical damage, you're not going to get very much life or mana steal back in return. And so that 9% doesn't really seem like a lot when you realize it's not really going to be that good. I am going to put a small break in this video because I'd like to show you something funny. So a long time ago, me and my nephew were playing together, and one of the things that we did on a regular basis was we usually did LAN play. And during the LAN play, we would, well, find items, make items, all sorts of other things. I really wanted my nephew to really have some fun with the game, and he didn't quite understand how to play yet, okay? And I didn't want him to get discouraged because I knew that once he, grew up a little bit and his brain developed, that he was definitely going to have a lot of fun playing the game and enjoying the mechanics. you know, together with me. And he did. He actually really did enjoy Diablo 2, and we would play often, far past this. But what I did was is I actually cheated him in a Shadowfang, so that he would have a little bit more fun playing with me. And I didn't actually upgrade it from the two-handed version. It's still the two-handed sword. And I'm going to show you guys this ridiculous Shadowfang that I made for him. So this is the Shadowfang. This is the sword that I made for him. 30%. Oh, so hold on. Indestructible. Okay. 30% increased attack speed. 30% faster hit recovery. 200% enhanced damage instead of 100% on mine. Ignores target's defense. Negative 25% target's defense. 75% damage to demons. The original 10 to 30 cold damage. The 9/9 life mana steal. 33% crushing blow, 33% deadly strike, 33% open wounds, freezes target plus 31, cold resistance 20, and plus 5 light radius instead of negative 2. And not only that, but I gave him 2 of them, and he dual wielded them. Yeah. I was on something that day. I don't know what I was on, but have fun with that. Shadowfang definitely needs to be upgraded, in my opinion, for you to get good use out of it. And so that's what we're going to do next. We're going to upgrade it. So to upgrade it, we're going to need a Ral, a Soul, and a Perfect Emerald. And I do believe I am out, so I'm going to have to go and get myself a quick refill. I'll be right back. All right, so let's get this upgrade going, shall we? So the Shadowfang two-handed sword is probably going to upgrade really well, and it's not necessarily for any reason of the effects on the sword. The effects on the sword are decent, but the reason why it's going to upgrade well is because it is a normal difficulty, low-tier item. So if you guys have never figured this out, the very low-level items, like the short sword, the two-handed sword, like the base equipment, is generally really bad because they're assuming you're level 1 while you're using it. So the two-handed sword has relatively low physical damage, specifically because it is a really low-level item. When we upgrade this, though, it's going to go to the exceptional version, which is going to be a higher-level item. So it's not going to be like when it upgrades, let's take a higher-tier, low-level item. Like, think about a quilted armor versus an ancient armor, right? Quilted armor has, what, like 14 defense? Not even that, it's probably like 10, whereas the ancient armor has like 200, right? So when you upgrade an ancient armor, which has like 250 defense, into an ornate plate, which has 400, it doesn't seem like that big of an upgrade as when you upgrade a quilted armor, which is like 10 defense, into a ghost armor, which is like 200, right? So it's a really big upgrade versus a smaller upgrade, because the ghost armor is the exceptional version, and the, of course, the quilted armor is the newbie Nubo version, right? So the two-handed sword is basically the newbie Nubo sword. And we're going to be going from a newbie Nubo sword into an actual good weapon. And it's going to go from 4 to 18 damage, 16 to 34, 27 dex, 35 strength, level 12, to 16 to 52 one-handed damage, 36 to 80, sorry, 16 to 52 one-handed damage, 36 to 80 two-handed damage, 61 dexterity, 73 strength, level 30. So as you can see, not a bad little upgrade there as far as like going from tier 1 to tier 2. Level 30, the requirements aren't really that bad. The one-handed damage is actually not terrible for level 30, and the two-handed damage is okay. The ethereal version is going to be much better at 6 to 26, 24 to 50, 17 dex, 25 strength, level 12. To 24 to 78 one-handed damage, 15 to 54 to 120 two-handed, 51 dex, 63 strength, and level 30. Not absolutely terrible upgrades to the S-Bandon, and the ethereal version could be good for an Act 5 Barb Merc, and you could potentially use the Shadowfang into Nightmare difficulty, although you're probably going to replace it probably pretty quickly into Nightmare difficulty. It'll help you farm Bale a little bit, maybe get a better sword from Bale. It definitely some interesting things that you can do with this particular sword in the levels that it requires. So at level 12 when you get it, and at level 30 when you upgrade it once, it can be useful. But again, it's going to fall off pretty quickly as you get into Nightmare difficulty, and you're probably not going to use it past that. We can, of course, upgrade this another time, though. And I don't think this is going to be a good upgrade from Tier 2 to Tier 3. But we're going to take a look at it anyway, because why not? So we're going to need a Paul, a Lum, and we're going to need some Perfect Emeralds. And this is going to upgrade from the Espandon to the Elite version. So we're going to go from 16 to 52 damage one-handed, 200 to 36 to 80 two-handed damage, 61 dex, 73 strength, level 30, to the Legend Sword, which is 44 to 112 one-handed. It's terrible. 100 to 188 two-handed damage, terrible. 100 dex requirement and 175 strength, both actually pretty terrible. And level 56, which is relatively low, but that high strength and high dex is going to limit its usefulness pretty terribly. The ethereal version can also be upgraded, and this will go from 24 to 78, 54 to 120 two-handed, 51 dex, 63 strength, level 30, to 66 to 168 one-handed. Not terrible for a one-handed item, but pretty bad for an ethereal one-handed item. Two-handed 150 to 282 two-handed, not very good. 90 dex, 165 strength, level 56. This could be moderately useful on an Act 5 two-handed barb merc. That's the only thing that I can think. The two-handed version, not really that great, but at level 56, a two-handed barb merc might be able to use this. 165 strength and 90 dex isn't too bad for them, and at level 56 it could be moderately useful for a while until you end up with something else. But I'm not sure you'd want to spend a Paul and a Lum rune to get it there. I wouldn't. I probably wouldn't. The main thing, though, that this sword does have that a lot of people don't really recognize is that the two-handed sword is actually a really fast base. The two-handed sword, the legend sword, I'm trying to remember all the different names of it. It does have quite a few different names, but it's a zero base in its two-handed form. But as you upgrade it, it actually gets to different speeds, and I'm pretty sure that the legend sword. Let me double check the Legend Sword real quick. Yes, the Legend Sword is a negative 15 base. So the speed of the Shadowfang actually goes up really high when you upgrade it to the Legend Sword, because the Legend Sword is faster than the two-handed sword and the Espandon. So you get a really nice speed bump for upgrading it, which is pretty cool. Let's take a look over at Silo's Pen, and let's see where we could potentially find this item if we wanted to get our hands on it. I honestly don't think anyone's going to have any trouble finding this item because it drops all the time, but let's have a look anyway, shall we? So we're going to restrict this to normal difficulty, and we're going to do about 50% magic find since it is a level 12 item. And level 12 is normal difficulty. Level 12 is Act 1 normal difficulty. So let's see if we can find any area in Act 1 that would potentially drop this. We've got Arcane Sanctuary, which is Act 2. And looks like none of the bosses in Act 1 that can drop this. So let's check Super Uniques. We've got Stony Tomb, Creeping Feature, a bunch of not Act 1 zones. Bone Ash in the Cathedral. Well, there you go. That's like the only thing on the list. So you could farm Bone Ash and the Cathedral at 1 in 5,084, which would be, I guess, your best bet. Let's take a look real quick, though, if you wanted to get this for a twinked out character. Let's just go let's assume like 400% magic find. You were just trying to find yourself a Shadowfang. You don't care where you find it. It does look like normal Mephisto, 1 in 159, or normal Diablo, 1 in 174 is your best bet there. And then for super uniques, looks like your best bet would be Fire Eye. Fire Eye is extremely easy to get to. You basically just go through the Arcane Sanctuary waypoint, walk through the portal, and Fire Eye is always guarding the portal. Extremely easy to kill, extremely easy to find. Honestly, in some ways, faster than Pindleskin, depending. Because Pindleskin, you have to watch out for the charges. But in normal difficulty, you don't really have to watch out for anything. But he is usually right there by the portal. Super easy to kill. It's 2 load screens, I guess, where Pindleskin is only 1 load screen. So I guess Pindleskin would be faster if you have a slow computer. Yeah. Anyway, as always, I do appreciate you guys and gals watching my videos, even when we're talking about a really weird sword that Iswal apparently sacrificed himself to try to stop being made, but it got made anyway, and it's not even really that good. Although it does have a really pretty color. I mean, I'll give it that. It does have a really pretty green sheen. I mean, let's go look at it on the screen real quick, just for, you can't really see the green sheen, because why don't they let us turn our characters? Like, that's like this most simplest feature. Like, I want to be able to like spin my character around and like look at his cool armor, but no. Anyway, as always, thanks for watching, and keep watching.